In business and life, there are so many decisions that you need to make. All successful people have one thing in common. They use mental models to guide their decision making. Hey everyone, Davie here. My brands have done over $270 million and I'm only 27. Here are my favorite mental models that you can use in any profession. One of the most famous people that always speaks about mental models is Charlie Munger. He's a billionaire that attributes most of his success to mental models themselves. Charlie Munger once said, "All I want to know is when I'm going to die, so then I won't go there." This is the perfect example of inversion. Inversion, put simply, is basically reversing a problem. It's a mental exercise that can reframe what you're trying to achieve. Imagine, for example, you're trying to make an office chair, the best office chair in the world. You're probably thinking, what makes the best office chair in the world? What kind of features should I be adding? Another way to reframe that is what makes the worst office chair in the world. By simply flipping the question, you'll get answers that you weren't going to get previously. Inversion is one of the most simplest mental models that all successful people use. I've used inversion a lot over the years. One of the main places that we use it is in product development. If you're looking to enter a niche, then look at all the other competitors in that niche that solve a similar problem. Look at their negative reviews. Now reverse it in your product development. Margin of safety. Margin of safety is an investment principle that dates back to the 1930s. Benjamin Graham made this really famous in his book, Intelligent Investor. The premise is, where there's some level of uncertainty, you're looking for a certain margin of safety. In stocks, this is when something is undervalued. So you're calculating the initial value of the stock and where you think it's gonna be. In between is the margin of safety. If you were crossing a bridge and it could only handle 30 tons and you knew your car weighed up to 28 tons, would you cross the bridge? What if it was only 10 tons? Chances are you want that margin of safety before crossing that bridge. You can use this concept in everything in business and life. Are you driving around without a spare tire in your boot? You have no margin of safety aside from calling a service to come pick you up if you get a flat tire. I use mental models mainly when launching new businesses or acquiring them. When you're launching a product and you do a product validation, so you get an initial read on how successful it's going to be. Does it have a huge margin? Did you get lots of customers for very little advertising spend? Chances are that's created a margin of safety for that product. That margin of safety can erode over time through competitors entering the market, but you can still make a lot of profit in the meantime and get ahead of it. If you're just starting out, you need to use margin of safety in your own savings. If you want to be entrepreneurial one day, you don't want to spend all your paycheck. Certain expenses can pop up, which can erode that business investment that you're willing to make soon. Circle of competence. This is one of my favorite mental models simply because it's humbling. It makes you recheck what you think you know. It's best described with a story. Say a businessman goes to Japan. He spends 2 months there, going around to local restaurants, meeting the local people. When someone comes and visits that businessman, he may feel very competent in the town. He'll look at it and think that he knows everything he needs to know about that town. Now compare that with someone that's lived there for 95 years. That person would know every single person's name. He would also know the history. He would know how the weather behaves in certain seasons. Now all you need to do is compare their circle of competence. One person can make correct decisions with all the information. One person thinks they know all the information and will probably make wrong decisions about the town. I constantly look at this concept around everything I do. While I feel that I have a circle of competence around e-commerce, I certainly at this stage don't have a circle of competence around cryptocurrency or investing as a whole. While I feel like I have a circle of competence in e-commerce and can make correct decisions because I have all the information that I need through historic behavior, I certainly wouldn't have that around cryptocurrency. This is even though I listen to lots of podcasts and smart people around cryptocurrency, and I generally understand the premise of it.
To zero.
I shouldn't feel confident in making large bets like I would in e-commerce. It's very easy to fool yourself to think that if you understand the basic concepts of something, you understand the same amount as everyone else and can make better decisions than them. In short, Charlie Munger said it best. He doesn't want to play a game where others are smart and he is stupid. This is a great way to look at things. The Pareto Principle. This principle is also known as the 80-20 rule. It's another way to say that your results aren't distributed evenly. It's amazing how much this ratio actually turns up even in nature. To put it simply, if you're working 100 hours a week to create 100% of your output, chances are that is not evenly distributed. 1 hour of your week does not equal 1% of output. There are certain tasks that are more high leverage, as in they produce more results. People often say the ratio of this is that 20% of your work creates 80% of those results. You need to find ways to figure out what task is actually creating those 80% of the results. You're trying to find the 20. Once you identify the 20, you can focus on it and do more of that to create more results. Alternatively, you can work less and you can only work the 20 hours and still get 80% of your results. One of the best examples I have of this is one of my friends. He had just started a business and it was starting to pick up. He's an incredibly good marketer. 80% of his results was him getting behind his sales funnels and all of his marketing. He got to a point where he was ready to hire someone. He reflected exactly where he should be spending his time. The first hire, rather than an operations person, funnily enough, was actually an assistant. He spent so much time in his personal life taking him away from things that were creating results in the business. He tracked his time throughout the week and he realized things like scheduling, going to the shops, paying bills, all added up to so much time that were really creating no results for him. Once hiring the assistant, he was able to focus on those tasks that were able to compound his success. Another good example of this is your iPhone apps. I bet you 80% of your time is spent on 20% of those apps. Stop procrastinating. Opportunity cost. This model is stolen from economics. Opportunity cost explains that resources are limited. By choosing to do one thing, we're missing out on an opportunity cost to do another thing. You may have felt this in your personal life. For example, wanting to stay home rather than go to a party. The opportunity cost is going to have fun at that party. A good example of this that I know a lot of my viewers and myself had to deal with was the opportunity cost of university versus business. If you have a side hustle, but you're at university, you need to make the judgment call whether you stay in university or focus on your side hustle full time. This is a great opportunity for us to talk about our other mental models. First one is the 80-20 rule. Where are 80% of my future results going to come from? Is it the university degree or is it the business? The next is circle of competence. Do I have the circle of competence, the full environmental knowledge to make the right decision in this process? Perhaps you don't actually fully understand the business yet. Perhaps you fully don't understand what the university degree is actually going to bring you in the future. If we do feel that we've got the circle of competence to make the right decision, then we can safely analyze the margin of safety. Is the business volatile? Is it a flash in the pan? Is it the next fidget spinner? By using all of these models together, we can really make the right decision. First, principles. This mental model is designed for the dreamers out there. When tasked with an impossible task, you need to break it down to first principles. If those principles are sound, then chances are that goal is achievable. While we can thank Aristotle for this concept, the most famous person that uses first principles is Elon Musk. When confronted with the problem that batteries were too expensive to make electric cars at scale, he broke it down to first principles. He looked at the materials that go into batteries. He broke down the unit economics of the product and said electric cars at scale is possible. He constantly refers things back to the laws of physics to make sure that his ideas are fetched in reality. He's even using this principle to guide his team to put people on Mars with SpaceX. While this mental model might not get applied to you very much in the early stages of business, it's still really important to understand that lots of people have assumptions that aren't actually grounded in reality. People will tell you that you can't do something just because someone's told them they can't do it. Constantly remember this and you'll make better decisions. Hanlon's razor. This one is pretty simple and it might help you be more peaceful in life. The phrase is, never attribute to malice what could be attributed to carelessness. It's basically saying humans are flawed, they make mistakes. Don't always just default that their actions were based on anger or malice. They might have just made a mistake. If you're ever going to become an employer, you need to understand the difference between this and just a lack of accountability. A good example of this is if you didn't get invited to something. Sounds like I didn't get invited to a party. A good example of this is you didn't get invited to a party. A good example of this is if you didn't get invited to something. We often just assume that the person is malicious and doesn't actually like us. There is a chance that they actually just forgot you off the list. By reflecting on people's intent and being less judgmental about them being judgmental, we can become more mindful with our relationships and reinforce the positive ones. The final mental model we'll discuss today is the Flywheel Effect. This is incredibly important to understand properly. The concept was made famous in the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. Imagine you have a big flywheel. It's really impossible to move. You have to get a lot of force to make it start moving. As you push it, it gathers momentum. Every single push that you do, it slowly goes faster until eventually it's starting to spin really fast. It gets to a point where its momentum just keeps gathering and it gets easier and easier to push along. This is exactly how big businesses get really, really big. One of the best examples is Amazon. Amazon had one simple concept to start their flywheel: create the best customer experience possible. By reinforcing this, they were able to get lots of traffic and sales on their website. This then incentivized more sellers to come onto the website and sell their goods to those customers. More products and more customers allowed them to lower prices. These lower prices then came all the way back up to the top of the flywheel, which is to give the customers the best experience possible. This concept can be used outside of business as well, with your personal life. Positive actions, no matter how small, whether it's for your fitness or your mental health, will compound over time. We really try to practice this concept with the Oodie. We focus on a really great product and really great customer experience. This then creates lots of customers, which allow us to reinvest into more products and great customer experience. This is how I built the Oodie. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It is actually our last episode for the year. I just want to say a huge thank you for everyone that's watched over the past 8 months. It's been a crazy year and the support that we've received on this channel is overwhelming. We look forward to 2022 and constantly helping you along your journey. Make sure you like and subscribe. Have a good Christmas.